Imagine being a little kid that's lived in poverty. You would struggle day to day, being hungry, wondering if your mom would have enough money to buy groceries. Going to school is hard. Most days you don't have a ride and you have to walk. Grades are not your strong suit. Reading does not come easy to you, and math just never makes any sense. These are all common things that happen to children that grow up in poverty. Kids that do not have a stable environment around them face more challenges and obstacles than they should. Poverty disrupts children's brain development and academic performance. I've comprised a list of different credible sources that have defended my statements, and I will provide facts that will help you understand how income inequality is growing in the United States. Impoverished kids don't do as well in school and have a lower brain development compared to kids above the poverty line. By the end of the day, I hope I have opened your eyes on the importance of bringing kids out of poverty and eliminating factors that help attribute kids to having a lower brain development. Income inequality is rising, causing a rise of kids living in poverty. Inflation rates continue to rise every year, but people are making minimum wage and they're not making any more money. And on the inflation data website, annual average inflation rates by decade, written by Tim McHall, says that the average annual inflation rate from 1990 through the end of 2018 was 2.46%. The federal minimum wage has stood at $7.25 for more than a decade, causing parents with their children to live in poverty. And in an article, Child Poverty, written by the National Careers for Children in Poverty, about 15 million children in the United States live in families with incomes below the federal poverty threshold. Not only are things getting more expensive, but kids who grow up impoverished have a lower brain development. The brain of a less fortunate kid does not develop to its full potential. Gray matter consists in the brain, and it's responsible for the muscle control, sensory perception, memory, emotion, speech, and even self-control. In the government database, the National Center for Biotechnology Information, written by Anthony A., gray matter plays the most significant part in allowing humans to function normally. There was even an experiment in the Scientific American, Poverty Distributes Children's Brain Development and Academic Performance, written by Diana Kwan, says researchers placed 389 kids in a magnetic resonance imaging machine to scan and measure gray matter volumes in the temporal lobes, frontal lobes, and the hippocampus. These are all brain areas that are critical to cognitive processes, and they're required for academic success. Diana Cohen also states in that same article that the researchers found that the children who grew up in families below the federal poverty line had gray matter volumes 8 to 10% below normal development. And to make matters worse, these kids' brains are not developing properly, and they're not doing as well in school. Impoverished kids do worse in school because of the factors they face of being poor. The effects of poverty include economic instability, risk, stress, and unsafe neighborhoods. In the Washington Post article written by Elizabeth Koska states, research has shown that children of poor parents display sustainably worse math and reading skills by the time they start grade school. And other studies have revealed that these wide gaps persist into adulthood and help explain low educational attainment and lifetime earnings. Families with a sustainable income are more than twice as likely to be enrolled in special lessons or extracurricular activities compared with their lower income counterparts. You now know the different main factors that contribute to poverty, disturbing children's brain development, And throughout this speech, I have shown you how income inequality is rising and how these poor kids' brains don't develop as much as they should, leading them to not do as well in school. Since poverty continues to be a problem, these kids in poverty will continue to have a lower brain development and do worse in school. Hopefully you all understand how serious poverty is for future generations. As I conclude my speech, I want to leave you with a quote from Hyam Jionat, a child psychiatrist once said, "Children are like wet cement. Whatever falls on them makes an impression."